We are the Listening Partnership, Bristol's participation group that gives disabled young people a voice on important topics that matter to us. Led by young people for young people, we challenge the barriers that we as disabled young people face in daily life.
As disabled young people, we are experts in our own needs. We know what we're good at, what we find difficult, and what kind of support we need. But too often we not listen to. People assume if they know what's best for us before asking us first. How can they help us if they don't know if they don't take the time to understand what we need?
So my school understood us as students, but I don't think they really understand like our individual needs. And this isn't just about teachers or professionals in schools, it's about everyone, every single person in education, including other students, support staff, and pretty much anyone who plays a role in our experience, in our school experience. There needs to be a much better understanding of our individual needs from everyone in education, everyone.
We shouldn't all be put into the same box just because we have sent. We individuals, we deserve to be treated like individuals. Understanding who we are, what we need and how to support us isn't something we can be done with a one-size-fits-all approach. We're all different and we all need people to recognize that. Well, when I was in second school, they didn't even put support in place for me until I had diagnosis. But here's the thing, they all refused to help me to get the diagnosis. So I was left on my own. But with no support and no one understanding what I was going through, nobody helped me on that journey. And that's something no young person should ever have to face.
The key to achieving all of this is proper communication. And professionals in school actually need to talk to us. They need to work with us and they need to ask us what we need. We are the best people to explain what works for us and what doesn't work for us. But it's not just about asking, no, it's about listening to what we say and acting upon what we say. And the same goes for our parents and carers. They know us better than anyone and see that side of us that schools might miss to see. And right now, professionals often just don't have the time to understand. They don't take the time to understand our needs or our insights that our families can provide on our own individual conditions. And time isn't being prioritized. And without that time, they can't truly get to know us or what we need to thrive. Working together with our families is going to be absolutely essential if we're going to have to create an environment where everyone can succeed.
It's time for schools and entire education to stop assuming that we need and start actually acting us. It's time to treat us like the individuals we are and recognize that we're all different strengths, challenges and ways of learning.
And on a final note, together we can all create a future where every single disabled young person feels understood, supported, cared for, and really just valued for who they really truly are.
Now that we've talked about understanding our needs, I want to focus on something just as important: listening to disabled children and young people and their parent carers so that decisions are made about our education are made with us, not for us.
We are the experts in our own lives. We know what works best for us and we know what doesn't. To create an education system that truly supports us, you need to listen to us and use our knowledge. This means having good methods of communication that allow every one of us to share our voice, no matter what our needs are.
In the past, no one really listened to me. It felt like my voice didn't matter. Some teachers were great, but others pushed me past my limits, and I couldn't cope. They didn't understand because weren't listening. That needs to change.
It's not just about hearing what we say, it's about truly listening and then acting on what we tell you. For example, you need to take our EHCPs very seriously. These plans aren't just documents, they're supposed to be a reflection of what we need. But too often they're written and ignored.
You need to actually read our EHCPs and use them to guide how you support us. And during EHCP meetings or any school meetings, our voices need to be, and voices of our parents and carers need to be prioritised.
Working with our parents and carers is crucial, but it's also important to start involving us in these conversations at an earlier age. Empower us to have our voices heard when planning our education. We can be part of these discussions if you give us the opportunity and the tools to speak up.
When we're treated as equal partners in our education, it changes everything. It's not just about making decisions for us, it's about making decisions with us and listening to the experts in our needs and treating us like partners. This is how you create an education system that works for everyone.
We've talked about understanding our needs and listening to our voices, but there's something else that's crucial for disabled children and young people to succeed, and that's getting the right help at the right time. Too often people focus on what we can't do instead of what we can truly achieve. No longer will there be the narrative that we can't and start thinking about what we need to so that we can. The education system too often sees us as a problem. We're being judged based upon what we struggle with, rather than being supported to overcome those struggles. This comes down to the way we think about disability. Right now, the education system still works from the medical model of disability. That's about to change. We need to start thinking in terms of the social model of disability, which says that the real problem isn't us. It's the barriers put in our way. If we break down those barriers, we can all be involved and solutions can be found that help us thrive.
Well, we're consistently told we can't. We're put down. We feel like people think that we can't achieve anything. Eventually, we start to believe it ourselves. I've heard people say, if other people don't believe in me, why should I believe in myself? That's what happens when the support isn't there. And when the focus is always on what we can't do. But it doesn't have to be this way. Getting the right support at the right time, in the right way, support that understands our needs and empowers us is the only way we'll be able to thrive. It's not just about giving us the tools to succeed. It's about showing us that we can succeed. When the education system shifts its thinking from you can't to here's what you need so you can, that's the real change happens. That's when disabled children and young people will start to thrive and achieve the outcomes they're capable of.
My name is Edward.
And my name is Oliver.
And today I want to talk about something really important, inclusion in education. Before we talk about preparing for the future, we make sure our education system is inclusive and supports every young person regardless of their needs. When I was in primary school, there were so many more opportunities to learn alongside my non-disabled peers, but once you get to secondary school, everything changes. Suddenly things feel so much different. It's like we're being pushed away into our own groups, separate from everyone else. To truly include us, we need to start by understanding what inclusion actually means. Some schools don't even know what inclusion looks like in its most basic form. Inclusion isn't just about putting disabled and non-disabled students in the same building. It's about creating real opportunities for us to learn and interact together in ways that are safe, supportive and appropriate for everyone.
In many mainstream schools, it feels like there's a clear divide. It's an us and them situation. We don't interact with each other enough for it to be truly inclusive. We need to have more spaces and chances to spend time with our non-disabled peers. This isn't just about education. It's about building understanding and respect between us. Education needs to be unique and individual to each person. Everyone should be treated based on their level of need, and schools should find solutions that work for each of us. What works for everyone may not work for another, and that's okay. But it's up to schools to figure out and make sure that we have what we need to succeed. Our voices need to be at the centre of planning and development when it comes to inclusion. We are the ones who know what it means to be truly included. So why aren't we asked about it more? Are young people with SEND included on school councils? Where are our voices in making schools more inclusive? We know what needs to change, but we need to be given the platform to speak up and share those ideas. Schools should be listening to us. And we should be part of the process in shaping how education can be more inclusive for everyone. Inclusion isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about making sure that every one of us feels valued, respected, and understood.
When I was in education, I didn't feel like I was getting the support I needed. We need support that's focused on us as individuals. Every one of us is different, so why is the support we get all the same? It feels like the system doesn't see us for who we are. One of the biggest gaps I've noticed is in schools and colleges when we need support the most. It isn't always there. When we get to college, many of us are just expected to just get on with it alongside our non-disabled peers, but this is often the first time we're fully integrated. Why aren't we being supported to prepare for this earlier? Another issue is once we finish school, it feels like the only option we're given is to go to university. But not everyone wants to go to uni, and not everyone should have to. Some of us want to pursue other paths like apprenticeships or training, but the problem is we're not given enough information or support to explore these options. And even worse, sometimes disabled young people are shoehorned into specific roles like being a cleaner, because people think that's all we're capable of. They don't understand that we can do more than that. It feels like the system is telling us you're not good enough for anything else. But this is just not true. We're capable of so much more than that. We need to be given the opportunity and support to explore different careers that follow our interests. I was lucky enough to get support from Bristol to access an apprenticeship, but that support didn't come from a school or college. Weren't there more opportunities like this for everyone? Preparing for the future is more than just academics. It's about making sure we have the skills and confidence to be independent, to get into supportive workplaces, and to live our own lives. Unfortunately, that support isn't always there. I'd like to share a personal story of one of my friends. Their geography teacher told them that because they're autistic, they wouldn't go anywhere in life. Can you believe that? But guess what? They got into university. We need the people around us, teachers, professionals, and decision makers to see our potential and not focus on what they think we can't do. We deserve the chance to be independent, to work, and to live in our communities. But to do that, we need better support as we transition between school, college, and whatever comes next.
whether that's work, further education, or something else. Annual reviews from Year 9 should be focused on our future and what we want to achieve in the future. It's not about fixing us, it's about removing those barriers, whether that's schools or workplaces, so we can succeed. It's time to start supporting us to do what we can do and time to stop looking at what we can't.
Hello there everybody, my name is Dan from Listening Partnership and today I'll be walking you through Priority 6 of the SEND strategy, which is feeling safe and included. As disabled young people, we should feel included in every part of our lives, but the truth is, too many of us don't. Bullying still happens all the time. We're still treated differently by our peers and even by the adults who are supposed to support us. This has to change if we're ever going to truly feel like we belong. One of the biggest problems is that when people make us feel unsafe, there's often no real consequence. It feels like some professionals in the school don't know how to handle situations where we're bullied or made to feel different. They either don't take it seriously enough or don't know how to deal with it. We need them to do more. And sometimes we're seen as the problem. When people don't understand our needs, we can get punished for things we can't control. We can be excluded from school or put in isolation for behaviour that's actually linked to our disability. How does that make us feel safe? Well, let me share something with you. My friend was jumped on outside of school. They ran back to school, thinking it would be a safe place. Instead, guess what? They were given a detention. That's just one example of how the system fails to support us when we need it the most. But what can professionals do to make things better? It starts with really listening to us, understanding our experiences and using that knowledge to develop better training for teachers, staff, and anyone who works with young people. You need to work with us, not just make decisions for us. We know what we need to feel safe, and we need our voices to shape the way professionals are trained. Training needs to focus on breaking down the barriers that make disabled young people feel isolated or excluded. Teachers and staff need to understand that inclusion isn't just about, for example, putting us in the same classroom as non-disabled students. It's about making sure they feel supported, heard, and safe. That means understanding our needs and adapting the environments around us so that we can thrive. But it's not just about schools. We need to feel safely included in our communities as well. Too often, disabled young people are left out of activities, events, and social spaces because they're not accessible or because people don't know how to include us. This isn't just about having ramps or accessible toilets. It's about attitudes. Communities need to welcome us, and that requires training and understanding, just like in schools. Professionals working in communities, whether they be youth workers, club leaders, and others, need to take the time to learn from us. They need to know what makes us feel unsafe and what can help us feel like we belong. That's how you create real change. By involving us in the conversation and making sure that we're not just included, that we feel safe and welcome in every part of the community. It's important that professionals see us as individuals and understand that we face different challenges. It's not enough to treat everyone the same. We need solutions that are tailored to our specific needs, whether that's in school or in our local communities. We're bullied and we want it to stop. Disabled young people face daily bullying, and for some of us, it's been going on for years. We're bullied simply because we walk, talk, look, or sound different. We're bullied in schools, in colleges, and even in the community, places where we should feel safe. It's not enough to say, oh, don't worry, we'll stop the bullying. No, we need real action. We need teachers, youth workers, and community leaders to understand what bullying looks like for us and how to stop it. We need schools and communities to have policies in place that protect us and make sure that when something does happen, it's taken seriously and that there are real consequences. But more than that, we need a shift in the way people see us. It's not just about stopping bullying. It's about creating environments where we're valued and respected for who we are, where we can be ourselves without fear of being excluded or judged. In the end, what we want is simple. We want to feel safe. We want to feel like we belong. And we want to know that our schools and communities are places where we can thrive, not just survive. But to get there, we need professionals to listen, to learn from us, and to take real action to break down the barriers to stop us from feeling included and safe. Thank you for listening.